We've talked a lot about the Sharks so far. Do you mind if we buzz through some NHL topics? Is that okay? I know that's what you guys do every day.
Take it anywhere.
Let's talk about Canadian disappointment first off, and not just the fact that
favorite topic.
What 93 was the last Stanley Cup for Montreal, but you're looking at Vancouver now, kind of establishing back into the rebuild mode. Toronto, I don't know what's going on there. And it's not just the gash on Berube's head. So is this like the hardest time to be a Canadian hockey fan? Because maybe with the exception of the Oilers, who have been to 2 finals in a row and had the ultimate worst possible result there, is it just the hardest thing to be a Canadian hockey fan right now?
Well, I think they're about to have a good month ahead of them, possibly.
Yes,
Olympic-wise. I mean, I am
yeah.
American. I am American through and through in the good ways, and I am hoping for Olympic gold. But I'll be damned. I'll tell you what. I'm watching that Sharks game that they played against the Oilers, and I'm very happy as an American that Zach Hyman and Evan Bouchard are somehow off the Canadian roster. So maybe there will be moments in the Olympics where Canadian fans are upset, but I think the Canadian hockey fans and American hockey fans have a very fun tournament coming up for them. As for the NHL stuff, I think Gavin McKenna's got to go to one of those teams. I don't know if it's going to be the Flames. I don't know if it's got to be the Canucks. But now with how robust it looks like the 2026 draft is going to be, I think good things are ahead for some of these Canadian teams, because maybe one of them will get Verhoff. Maybe one of them will get Gavin McKenna or whomever else. But it does answer your question about it being a sad state of affairs when you ask, hey, are things going well for Canadian hockey fans? And the first 2 things I bring up are something that isn't the NHL. Right. And then the second thing I bring up is the NHL draft.
Right.
So things aren't going great. But as an Oilers fan myself, I think that there's hope in Edmonton. Winnipeg, things not looking great.
Right.
Like, it's just that the list is longer of problems. So yes, you're right.
And it's not that like the problems are happening right now. It's that the outlook has changed for a lot of these teams. Like it's not that they're on the outside looking in. Like Toronto is perhaps like on the verge of, I wouldn't say blowing it up. That feels too strong, but I think the word directionless or like a very confusing state surrounds that team right now. And it's bleak. I think you look at Ottawa, it's super disappointing that that they've taken such a big step back this year when they had some momentum after last year. And Brady Tkachuk, I wonder at what point it hits a point where he might want to follow the same playbook his brother played with in terms of getting out of a Canadian market and getting himself to a better situation. I know there's been a ton of noise there, but you know, those 2 teams obviously heading in the wrong direction. I would say Vancouver and Winnipeg, like even faster in the wrong direction.
Yep.
It is so bad. I don't think there's a team in the league that has a worse outlook right now and worse vibes right now than the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah.
And it's just an absolute mess. The Flames feel like they really need a life raft or a life preserver to cling on to. Maybe it's Gavin McKenna, maybe it's Keaton Verhoff, one of those guys. But yeah, as it stands right now, the entirety of Canada's hopes are completely hinging on the Canadians and the Oilers, and that's not just this year, it feels like.
So as we're recording this, January's not done. I don't want to say that what the number is, but we're close to 30 hat tricks recorded in the NHL in this month of January. Can either of you put a finger on why so many? That's an abnormally high amount. That's like one a day or one a night.
Well, it's like half of them are coming from defensemen now, which is so random. So I think that helps inflate the numbers. But yeah, I mean, 30 set the record this month in NHL history. So it is an unusually high number. And a lot of this is something that we talked about on the show this week. A lot of the numbers, or a lot of the contributors, are not the usual suspects here.
Right.
Like a lot of just random hat tricks across the NHL, which is very fun. But we even had one taken away in Seattle, which came with a very, very fun marketing campaign.
They had to pay for people to get new hats because of the ones that were thrown on the ice.
Yep. And hopefully more. I mean, we are very excited now about the defense hat tricks because currently, or as of this recording, uh, the 2025-26 season is tied for the most productive season
Oh.
in terms of NHL defensemen registering hat tricks. In 1974, 1975, there were 9,
Hmm.
and this year there's been 5 already. So
Yeah.
right around on pace to do it. And as Pete said, it hasn't totally been the usual suspects. Bouchard, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
It never makes sense for a defenseman to have a hat trick, but like Bouchard, that makes sense. It doesn't make sense for Matthias Ekholm to be recording hat tricks. I'm sorry. So it's coming from all over the place. So we're thinking at some point, like I don't know if Dmitry Orlov wants to get in the mix, Sam Dickinson, that'd be a lot of fun. But I think that like swinging it back to the East Coast, we're getting one from Matthew Schaefer at some point.
Yeah. We got to.
The defensemen are not done.
I got 2 more for you guys, and I really appreciate this. Bucket list for outdoor game locations. In my opinion, the NHL needs to go to a new era of getting away from the stadiums, getting away from football stadiums. I loved the one in Lake Tahoe a few years ago. You can go routine, you can go off the map. Where would you each go for the next outdoor game?
One that jumps out to me is I think Pete's going to say University of Texas, Austin. So I'll let him have that if that's what he's going to say. But I don't know, like, why not Alaska? Let's just go to Alaska.
I've suggested
make a real thing of it.
Barrow, Alaska is like the northernmost like city and high school in the United States. Obviously, it's on the shore of the Arctic Ocean, right? Do it.
That would be sick. Or maybe it'd be terrible, but we'll find out.
Probably both.
Yeah.
Pete, what do you got, Pete?
Yeah, like I'm very cool with doing away with the stadium series at least for a few years and getting a little bit more off the beaten path. I love the Tahoe game.
Yeah.
I like the oddity factor and sort of just like it makes it way more memorable if you do something that is completely removed from something you've seen before. And one thing that I keep going back to from the Lake Tahoe game, like obviously the Bruins one for me as a Bruins fan was very, very cool. But I still always think back to the Avalanche Vegas Golden Knights game that basically kicked off around midnight Eastern time because it was such a mess in terms of the sun and the ice quality. And yeah, that was sort of a disaster for the NHL optically in the moment. But playing a midnight game and just like a mess of a situation created so much drama and so much fun for me that like if they were to do some sort of midnight madness kind of outdoor game and just really leaned into the absurdity of it, I would have a blast with that. And I think that it would be a lot cooler than just like, oh, we're going to Jerry World and we're going to play, play a game that we've seen in a million different iterations before.
Right.
Let's get weird. Let's let like kids have a lot more fun with it and have it be like sort of a core memory. And even for adults who just like weird crap, let's get weird and let's take the outdoor games to a new level.
I agree. And I think in that Colorado game, if I recall correctly, they played the first period in the afternoon, and then they delayed the final 2 periods until the night. It was the most bizarre thing ever. But if you've been to Tahoe, you should have known. It's not what you expect up there. You should have started that game near sunset. Anyway, last thing, NHL trade deadline, a little more than a month away right now. In my opinion, because of the parity of the league and where all the teams are at, it's so tight. There's only a few clubs which are far out of it, and maybe the Rangers and Canucks are looking to sell off pieces. Is it just going to be a slow trade deadline, or what are each of you predicting for the deadline?
Elliot Friedman said that he thinks that there's going to be more sellers than they're letting on. And if Elliot didn't say that, I apologize for making it up, but I'm pretty sure he said that. I think I saw that floating around.
Sounds like an Elliot thing to say. Yeah.
Let's go with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you are a team, especially in the East where everyone's over 500, except for the Rangers probably, but like everybody is having an okay enough season that you say, we shouldn't sell. Teams are probably looking around and saying, look, we know that we're not having a bad season, but we also can't be sure that we're going to be able to jump like 6 teams, even if we're only a few points out of it.
Yeah.
Aren't one of those teams going to also play well? So like it's tough to discern. I think at some point teams are just going to start pulling the parachute, and It'll be a bummer for the fans of those teams, but I think it makes sense. Even if you're in the mix, there's so many teams to jump in the case of Eastern Conference teams. So I'm going to err on what Elliot, I think, said, which is that there's going to be more sellers than we think. Like maybe like a team like Columbus. I know they fired their coach trying to get some sort of spark, but when teams in that position aren't getting that, do they say, okay, forget it, let's start to move guys?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a surprising amount of action, and I say that for a few reasons. Number one being the free agent class coming up stinks. It really stinks. And so if you want to improve next year, you can get a lot of work done here by identifying guys that you want. And on the other side of that too is, yeah, there's a lot of parity, but that also means that the teams that see themselves not really in contention right now see a team that can't even punch with like a lot of middling teams, a lot of teams that are kind of stuck in the middle. Like when I look at a team like the St. Louis Blues, who didn't have the worst outlook heading into this year. They wanted to find out a lot about themselves, but you would think that that would be a team that would be part of the pack of just like sort of unimpressive parity. Instead, they see a core that can't even get them there this year. So there could be those types of teams that say, what are we trying to build around here? And is it good enough? Is it time to just hit the reset button? I see St. Louis as one of those teams. I wonder if Winnipeg is really going to consider what they're building around, especially when like they couldn't get it done in years prior when they had much more impressive teams top to bottom. Vancouver, I think, is still going to have to, really, really commit to this blow up. That means Elias Pettersson might get moved. Like there are a lot of teams that are going to have to realistically assess the fact that they cannot contend or be considered serious contenders this year when it seems like everybody is in the mix.
It's great stuff. Guys, I really appreciate the time. What Chaos is honestly one of the favorite things that when it pops up on my feed, pretty much instantly click on it. I don't even care what you guys are talking about, but most of the time it's something right up my alley. So DJ and Pete, keep it up. Really appreciate this, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
It's so nice of you, Brodie. Thank you very much for having us.